list. This is going to be all exotics with the exclusion of the adept weapons, which are just like I said. I don't really think they're worth going over just because they're the legendary versions with burns. It's just not worth it, really. In the Vex Mythal class, I never got to use the gun, so I don't really know how it is. Um, and yeah, so that's it. Here's going to be the tiers here. We have wait, we already finished the strike, the best of the best. I love this gun. It's great. Which is like, yo, okay, this gun's pretty fucking solid, you know? I mean, it's not as good as like just the borderline overpowered weapons up here, but it is still a solid gun that is worth using. The gun's pretty good. It may or may not. It's more situational rather than something you could really just keep on and just keep going with it. Man, it's okay. It's not really that worth using, but if you kind of find it fun, then go for it. Mediocre. The gun, it's not completely fucking useless, but it's just not worth putting in your slot. And useless trash, this is literally, there is absolutely zero use for this gun. Like, there is literally no situation in which you should be able to, not be able, you should use this gun. There is no fucking situation. Um, and this is going to be a PvE tier list. I'm definitely not the guy to go for PvP, and it would be fucking impossible to balance out both types of activities in one tier list. That's just purely impossible. So if you want to do a PvP one, I don't know, maybe someone else has already uploaded it, but this is a PvE tier list. And starting off with useless trash, we're going to go with the first curse. Yeah, this gun fucking sucked. Honestly, like, even after the buff they gave it, it still is fucking useless. The perk on it is complete garbage. I don't know what they were thinking of it. And you want to know, dude, I know the perk was garbage, but this is how you know the gun is awful. I don't even remember the fucking perk. It was something so situational and so stupid. Like, it was so fucking retarded, and it was in the 110 archetype, so the super low rate of fire hand cannons that just were pretty fucking garbage in a lot of situations, and they just weren't worth using. It was always the 140s you wanted to use. Um, and it just was completely fucking useless. Next one is gonna be the last word. The last word also just was complete ass in PVE. Like I said, this is not a PvP tier list. If this was PvP, it'd be like already like in these two, which is the reason why I have Strike in here, by the way. And yeah, so the last word was just fucking horrible. I mean, it looks badass. The reload animation's badass. The kind of spinny little thing's badass as hell. It just overall just kind of sucks though. It's useless. There is absolutely no use for this gun whatsoever. Next one's going to be Drake's Promise. This gun also just completely fucking blows. I mean, sidearms in general in PvE are just the worst, probably the worst gun you could use in PvE. I mean, it is like it is so fucking like low damaging. You're better off using a fucking, just something more close range, like a hand cannon. You're just better off using that. You're just gonna get more damage with the hand cannon and kill shit quicker. So, obviously it was in the special slot back then, so you couldn't really, you know, you could you really shouldn't ever use a sidearm in PvE. That's what I'm trying to say, because you had snipers and shotguns and fusion rifles that were significantly better. Shit, even fusion rifles were significantly better than the sidearms. And sidearms were just not worth using because they were in the special slot. They just didn't do really anything in PvE. They were never good. And it just sucked. And I think it had like tracking rounds, and it would like shock people or some shit. I don't even remember the fucking perk, dude. That's how much this gun sucked balls. Um, and it just was fucking awful. All right, so where's it at? Dude, this list is so fucking huge right here, dude. Where's the next one at? Ah, come on, where the hell is it at? Oh, here it is. Hereafter. Yeah, this gun also fucking sucked. I think just the whole precision kill blinding effect is just a worse Firefly. Like, you really shouldn't be using it. It's just the worst Firefly. I mean, it really is. That's just the kind of bottom line with it. It just overall is really, there's no use for it. Um, really at all. Next one is going to be No Land Beyond. This gun also really fucking sucked. Remember, I was super excited when I got this because back then I didn't really like listen to YouTube so much and know what guns were good and bad. I just tested them out for myself. And I remember when I originally got the No Land Beyond, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go test it out on the Ultra Knight and the Dreadnought, which it was a 3 of coins farm also for me way back in the day that I actually uploaded on my channel way back in the day, and also made a rant about the No Land Beyond way back in the day on my previous channel before that fucker got banned. Um, and yeah, it just sucks. I mean, it's a primary sniper rifle, which at first sounds like holy fucking cool. This is gonna be awesome. But it just doesn't do any goddamn damage. I mean, it took like a few clips to kill that Ultranet, which is just ridiculous. You're better off using a sniper in your special slot, and then maybe like a scout or like a pulse in your primary. That's back when scouts were actually good. Um, yeah. So the next one is going to be Patience in Time. There was really no use for this gun. I mean, it was really cool. Like when you first saw, oh, you can go invisible. That's fucking sick. Oh, I'm gonna use this on what is it? The Gorgons and Vault of Glass. I want to go back and do Vault of Glass. I'm gonna use it on the Gorgons, and it just was, it was bad. It was really bad. Um, so yeah, you should never use this gun. It's just honestly the perk is fucking garbage. It's one of the worst perks in the game. Um, honestly, like it really is. Like it sounds cool, but in reality, it's just bad. Thorn is just crap, and it's honestly I don't know how it was in year one in PvE, but I know in year three it just was crap. I mean the damage on it was crap. The dots on it was crap. There was no use for the dots at all. Unless if you're taking down a shield, but why the fuck are you taking down the shield with a thorn, right? You whip out your sniper or something and take down the shield then. Um, Unless if you don't have, special ammo at all, but it just, it just sucked. Next one's the Trespasser. Same thing as the Drex Promise. It's a sidearm. There's no use to it. You're better off just not using it really at all. It just awful. Where's that? Where's the next one at? Shit. It's gonna get much easier to recognize these as I go. No, I recognize them. There's just so much. Here we go. Hard light. Gun fucking blows. Too much damn screen shake. Remember, this is also not on PC. Destiny 1 wasn't on PC, so the recoil was fucking insane on this thing. The screen shake on it is awful, and for some dumbass reason, they still have that same shit in Destiny 2. It doesn't make it, the gun's trash. Nobody wants to fucking use this gun. Even in Destiny 2, it is fucking trash. Like, why do you make the gun the way it is? It's just fucking garbage. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why they make it this way. Um, but it just is just it's frustrating because I mean it's an auto rifle, it looks cool, it's an ammo auto rifle. I just want it to look really cool. No, I want it to perform really good. I want it to be great. But it just has always sucked, and I wanted to always give it a shot and always, try to appreciate it, but I just never really could. Um, and yeah, that's going to be it for the useless trash. Mediocre is a bolt caster here. Now, I know a good amount of people might get pissed at the bolt caster placement, but the bolt caster was a PvP gun. It was not a PvE gun. It was fun to use because it was a sword, but it just simply was not a PvE gun. It's the ranged sword attacks and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, but it didn't do a whole lot of damage. And it only really, like, you should only use this, like, sword if if you are feeling about using a sword, really only use this in arc burn situations. That's really the only way you should do it, or just going out and patrolling and using it for fun. That's cool, but it in my opinion was not very good. It wasn't nearly as good as the other swords, just because it's a PvP sword. Um, and yeah, so let me get the next one here. Uh, I have on my second monitor, I have like a screen full of all like the full tier list. Where the hell is it at? Oh, Boolean Gemini, here it is. Yeah, so this gun sounded really cool on paper. You get body shots to increase armor, I think it was, and like headshots to increase like recovery or like speed. Or precision kills to increase speed and body shots to increase armor, whatever. But that's the problem, is that the good one was the armor one, right? But it required body shots. Why the fuck would you make a perk that requires body shots? You know how convoluted that is to what people do in PvE? Fucking nobody goes for body shots in PvE. Everyone goes for headshots. That's just how shit goes. I mean, that's what you should be doing, is going for headshots in PvE. I remember when I first started out the game, I was always going for body shots until I heard you should really go for headshots. And at first it was really hard for me to get used to it. But ever since I got used to it, I've never gone for the body. I've always gone for the head. Um, obviously people like Thor. No, I'm kidding. That's a shitty joke. Um, and it sucked just because of that perk alone. And the speed then doesn't really fucking matter. It was mobility. I don't actually think it was even sprint speed either. Um, so it just was kind of just, I don't know. It just was like I said, mediocre. Next one's gonna be Touch of Malice. Touch of Malice was only really good in King's Fall. It was only really good in King's Fall for the daughters, and that was pretty much it. You could use it if you were the runner in Oryx. Probably should use the Touch of Malice as well. Just because it's not like I think you're immune inside of that bubble, right? Yeah, you're immune inside of that bubble in King's Fall when you're shooting Oryx and shit like that. In his little fucking his heart or whatever, like when he opens it up and he starts shooting him. After you do all the, and then you go for the blights after that or whatever if you're not doing challenge. Um, but like I said, that was really the only good situation. That and daughters or sisters, whatever the hell. Yeah, it's sisters. That was the only good situations for this gun. It was pretty decent. Like I used it in Challenge of the Elders because I always had a Titan with me, and we'd pop blessing, and because of that last round draining bit by bit of your health, you would drain your blessing on for the Touch of Malice. I need to go back getting your blessing and then go do it again. Um, so it was good in that situation, but they nerfed it later on for no apparent fucking reason. So yeah, that the gun just immediately went down to mediocre. It's only really good for King's Fall, and that's pretty much it. Um, and the gun just really isn't that good. All right, where's the next one here? Here we go. I actually forget what the hell this gun's called. You got this gun. It was really weird. It was actually a really, really good quest. I had to do something of like Future War Cold and going back and doing the Vault of Glass. And there was this last mission where you had to kill this Minotaur, this big ass Minotaur, and it was in like the Black Garden mission. And there was so many fucking Minotaurs all over the place. It was such a pain in the ass. And I think it was on a timer too. But when you finally did it, it was great. And the gun itself on paper sounds fucking incredible. Being able to just get unlimited ammo by getting precision hits, not even kills, sounds cool as shit. But it just wasn't. I honestly don't know what it was about this gun. I don't know why it's bad and why it's mediocre, but it just was. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I picked it up and used it for a bit, but then I just kind of put it down and gravitated some other stuff. And that was really unfortunate because this gun sounds fucking incredible. Um, and it just isn't. Like it's probably the one of the weirdest guns in Destiny ever because it sounds great and it really isn't. Like it's just like it sounds like it's gonna be wait we already finished this strike kind of tier, but it just really wasn't. Next one's gonna be Four Forcemen. Normally really good in Arc Burn strikes, Arc Burn specialist. It is a complete fucking beast under the situations, but otherwise it was pretty bad. Um, Dude, I honestly forget what this is called too. Zen Meteor? Yeah, I think it's Zen Meteor. A dynamite with a laser beam. You get like I think like 3 or 4 kills or in a row, like in a short period of time, and then you get like one big bonus damaging shot. Unfortunately, it sucked fucking balls, and it was never really good because there's another exotic sniper we're gonna be talking about that was really just infinitely better than this. Um, and there was really no point to using this gun. It was pretty fun. Seeing that like fucking your gun literally light on fire was the coolest shit ever. But it just really wasn't good. Next one is going to be super good advice. This gun it sounds amazing on paper, but unfortunately it fits into the weakest archetype of machine guns, and that is the fastest firing machine guns in the game. The fastest firing ones fucking blow. I don't know about how they are in Destiny 2. I never got the 21 Delirium or whatever, but in Destiny 1 they fucking suck, and they pretty much all suck. So when this gun came up, it looked really, really cool. but it just fucking sucked. I think this was a year one gun too. It was awful. There was no point to use this gun. It did get buffed later on, but it just didn't compete with anything else really. Um, yeah. Next one's gonna be Monte Carlo. This was only really good for hunters who liked using smoke bombs because of the melee regen thing, and yeah, also the throwing knives too. But it was actually a pretty fun gun. I mean, just kind of shooting around. The low recoil on it was pretty cool. But overall, it was just kind of good, decent, I guess. Um, and where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Shit, man, where is it? I'm trying. Oh, here it is. Lord of Wolves. Dude, I don't even remember the perk on this thing. But it really wasn't good. Like it really wasn't. I think it was more of like a support gun. And it sounded cool, it looked cool, it felt cool, but it just wasn't a very good gun. I think that's really all I can say about that one. There wasn't a whole lot to it. A universal remote, it just simply wasn't good. The ammo was too little. A primary shotgun sounds cool, but like the No and Beyond, it just didn't do a whole lot of damage. You know, it just wasn't that good. Plan C, this gun also was just mediocre. Also was a fusion rifle, so of course it was gonna fucking suck. Because fusion rifles in general were just nerfed to the ground, hence the meme. In Destiny 1 they were awful. In Destiny 2 they're pretty decent. I just don't see a whole lot of them. It really sucks too, because fusion rifles are cool as fuck. Um, anyway, the Kvastov is next. What a fucking disappointment this gun was. One of the most nostalgic moments for all Destiny players was the beginning of the game, where you got, and I'm gonna sneeze here. Oh, fuck me in the asshole. Okay, Kvastov. One of the most nostalgic moments for all Destiny players, not me, because I started off in Second King and used my level booster, but um, is getting the Kvastov for the first time and using that gun with the M4 like gun and just going around and shooting shit on the beginning of the game. And it's a really nostalgic moment, and because Rise of Iron is basically a celebration of Destiny, and you know, going into Age of Triumph, that was the ultimate celebration. They decided to make an exotic version of the Kvastov, and it was really unique because instead of giving it a perk, they wanted to make it a jack of all trades, master of none's kind of gun, or master of none, not nuns. What the fuck am I talking about? Kind of gun. And so essentially, there was a semi-auto mode, a burst fire mode, and a full auto mode. Unfortunately, the semi-auto and burst fire doesn't seem how it was. So you would think it would be like, okay, so semi-auto would be like if I wanted to use a scout rifle, right? It would be like a scout rifle kinda. And then you would go into a pulse rifle, and it would be like a pulse rifle. No, it wasn't. It was garbage. The scout mode, the single fire is not a scout. It really isn't. It doesn't do nearly as much damage as a scout rifle. Same thing with the pulse. And the auto rifle was an auto rifle. And typically, for the most part, auto rifles really aren't that good. There are a few exceptions, but it just was never very good. And the perks on it, there was a shitload of perks. There was also, it was the most customizable gun in Destiny history, but it just fucking sucked. It was really disappointing. I remember when I first got the gun, I loved it. I made a review on it. I was like, oh, this gun's fucking sick, but it just sucks. Like, it is really bad. It's not completely useless, just because of the nostalgia with it, but it's just, it was really disappointing. Really disappointing. Next one's Jade Rabbit. This gun looked cool as tits, man. This gun looks fucking badass, and I love it. But it sucks. I think the main perk on it was like you get like multiple body shots in a row, and you get like a huge amount of headshot damage, and then your refills the magazine, and you keep going. The problem is that it wanted you to get body shots. Yeah, it's the same problem as the Boolean Gemini. It just required you to get body shots, which just it wasn't a good idea, really at all. So let me see here. Is that the last one? I think that's the last one for mediocre. Um, that should be the last one. Yep, that's the last one. All right, moving into meh, it's okay. Where's that? Dragon's Breath, and this was like borderline mediocre here. The Dragon's Breath was pretty decent for farming the Amaga Loop before skeleton keys were a thing. You'd go into the Nightfall or whatever with the group, and you would like farm the Amaga Loop, try to get a you know, the God roll, and it's a Fatebringer roll. and you would just use this to do a lot of damage to the boss or whatever. But ultimately, it's never really been that good of a gun. It is actually a good amount of fun. Like seeing that big ass napalm canister everywhere was pretty cool. But in year one, it actually like just released like a big solar grenade, I think it was. It just never has really been that good. And yeah, invective. This gun had like a I don't know. It was weird because it was like the icebreaker of shotguns, except it wasn't really an icebreaker because the ammo regen on it sucked fucking balls. It was very slow, and it wasn't like it can't be reloaded. Yeah, it can be reloaded. Held like 4 shots. It had full auto on it, and it just wasn't very good. Honestly, I think this is also borderline mediocre, but it looks super fucking cool. And it feels cool and it's fun to use, but it just ultimately isn't that good of a gun. Next one is going to be Mida Multi-Tool. The Mida Multi-Tool is basically the vision of confluence of exotics. It's a really good weapon in terms of just stats. It's really reliable for what it does, but it isn't over the top. It isn't a workhorse. It's got a big ass magazine. Um, and if it's one of your first exotics, you're likely going to be using this exotic a lot because it's a really easy to use gun. It is super easy to use. It's super straightforward. And it was always more of a PvP gun, but it was, max reload speed, almost max reload speed, I think it was. And then it had just insane reload speed. And then, a great scope on it, great feeling, great handling. The gun I mean, it wasn't a beast, but it just was okay. But like I said, for experienced players, it wasn't very good. But for new players, it was very good. Um, Nova Mortis, I think it was called. It was basically like the opposite version of a Thunderward, um, where it would like fire fast really first and go fire slow, and it was kind of like you can get some decent burst damage on it. But it just like it was like a worse Thunderward basically. It just wasn't very good. Next one is going to be, let's see where it is. Let's see, where the fuck is it? Shit. Here it is. Truth. For some reason, they don't have the Tekken King logo on it. Yeah. So Truth was the Mida Multi-Tool of rocket launchers. It just had good stats on it, good velocity. It's got crazy tracking on it, but ultimately it just wasn't good because there was a rocket launcher later on that was really good, but that was a year three. You know the one I'm talking about, okay? If you played in year three and year one, you know what the one I'm talking about. But if you did use this gun in year two, you just didn't like. You're better off not really using this gun at all. Um, and this is back when exotic heavies actually weren't really worth using. It's pretty crazy how everything's changed because exotic heavies now are fucking beast in Destiny 2. Like they are so overpowered as hell. Um, and it's honestly kind of surprising how much times have changed. It really is. And this is going to be the Queer Breaker's bow. Now it's called the Queen's Breaker, but back then it's called the Queen's Breaker, Queen's Breaker Bro, Queen's Make. I don't know. I called it the Queer Breaker's bow, and it just was just meh. It's okay. I mean, it was literally the definition of meh. It was a fucking amazing looking gun. It looked sick as fuck. It was a year one gun with the House of Wolves, but then they put it forward with the Challenge of the Elders in the April update, and it was just fucking incredible, like cosmetic wise. Like it looks fucking amazing. It is literally like what the sniper Vandals use. And it just literally stripped right off of them. But unfortunately, that's about where the weapon's usefulness ends. It looks badass. It was literally the first ever linear fusion rifle, and it it feels cool. It's like holy shit, I'm a fucking Vandal now, and ultimately it just kind of sucked though. I mean, it wasn't really that good. Um, and you're better off really not using it. I mean, you're better off using a sniper rifle or a fusion rifle. Like, that's really how it is. Yeah, next one's going to be Suros Regime. It's an auto rifle, isn't very good, and you're better off really not using it. It had glass half full on it, and the spinning up was pretty cool in PvP, but it just wasn't very good. The second worst swords of all is the Young Wolf's Howl. It just was like a worse Raise Lighter. It tried to do something like really weird. It was like a mini Rise of Iron axe, but it just wasn't that useful. You're better off really not using it. uh, at all. And yeah. Next one we're going to put in is the Titan exclusive auto rifle, the Fabian Strategy. The gun's really never been good, to be honest with you. I know lots of Titan mains are probably going to get pissed at me, but it's never really been that good, at least in my opinion. Um, it's always just been kind of, if you want to use it, if you find it fun, go for it, but it just really isn't like, I mean, you're probably going to get kicked out of a strike, or not a strike, out of a raid for using this. That's like, is pretty much what happens. Alright, that's going to be it for the men. Now we're going into the guns pretty good. We're going to go and shove all three Thunderwards in here. They're basically just Thunderward, but with different archetypes, or I'm sorry, different elemental burns. They're all the same gun, pretty much. I think there was like a hidden thing with the Abaddon, which was a solar one, where it had like more recoil, but I think they patched it later on, I think. Um, and yeah, it's weird because the Thunderlord in this game was just it was just a solid machine gun to use. It was a solid machine gun, but you're better off really using a legendary one like the Coulom's Terminus. But it was just a solid one. Okay, it had good stats, good handling. It was just a solid machine gun that did a good, decent amount of damage, which is just weird because it is a complete fucking monster in Destiny 2 now. But um, it just, it was a solid gun. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah. Next up is going to be the Hunter exclusive hand cannon of Taken King, and that is the Ace of Spades. I never used this gun very much just because I didn't play a Hunter very much. But I know it was a decently fun gun. It was kind of like the Fatebringer, had a decent perk on it. And I mean, it really wasn't that good. I honestly think it's borderline meh, but um, yeah. I think that's really all I have to say about it. There's not anything super unique about it. Next one is going to be Necrochasm, or as I like to call it, Neck Orgasm. Now, before Age of Triumph, this gun fucking sucked. It was never brought forward out of that, but it was ass. High rate of fire auto rifles are fucking garbage, and this one was no exception to that. It was really fucking bad. Um, but, on the other hand, um, with Age of Triumph, it actually became a pretty good gun. Now, the beginning of Crota Zem, and you guys know what I'm talking about if you've done this while the Thrall, this gun is a complete fucking monster. The chain explosions, I think there's chain explosions, and the Cursed Thrall explosion effect, it was basically Firefly, but you could just kill anybody on the body. Like, you could kill on the body and boom, Firefly. It was so fucking awesome. I love this gun. It was super fun to use. It wasn't top tier, but it was still a fun gun to use. It was super fun, and it looked badass, and I loved it. Anyway, next one's gonna be Telesto. Telesto was a complete, absolute monster. My dick is hard. Holy shit, this is amazing. OG Mudbone, 17-inch cock, and Void Burn Specialist. I mean, this gun was a complete beast in that situation. But outside of that, it was just a gun's pretty good. It was a solid gun, and if you wanted to use it, you're good. It was a good strike gun. But other than that, it wasn't really like full-on worth using. Moving into the I love this gun, it's great, is going to be the Hawkmoon. The Hawkmoon's always been a solid choice in PvE. 13 rounds, great impact, great reload, a fucking amazing perk. Back when Luck in the Chamber was a thing, there's 3 rounds of the Luck in the Chamber, so you get 3 out of 13, where it just does significantly more damage. It's completely random, but it was a great ad clearing PvE trash mob kind of weapon. It was just a solid hand cannon to use. And yeah, next one is going to be Icebreaker. Now, year 1 Icebreaker was great from my knowledge, but then moving forward into year 3 with the Dawning, it wasn't really that good. Honestly, I think a lot of people wanted it to be this tier, but unfortunately the content designed after year 1 was not really the kind of content. I mean, there was still some content like that, but where you just sit back and shoot at a boss for like 50 minutes. Where the Icebreaker really excelled in year 1 and unfortunately didn't really excel very much in year 3 because there was also better options in it, and because it's just that the content wasn't designed like it used to be for that kind of situation. And with the Icebreaker, it was a great looking gun and had some cool ornaments to it. It was a nostalgic weapon for a lot of people, and regenning ammo was super nice. It didn't do a whole lot of damage, But you know, it was just, especially in like Juggler, it was really useful there, just because you don't have to worry about it with the ammo. You don't have to worry about getting special ammo, but the regen time on it's pretty long, not as good as it used to be. And it just wasn't, it was kind of a fall from grace, but it was also just a solid gun at the same time. It is really borderline. This gun's pretty good. Um, but yeah, the next one is going to be the Outbreak Prime. Obviously, in Destiny 3, for my knowledge, or I'm sorry, Destiny 2, it's a complete fucking monster. But in this game, it just was not top tier, but it was really good. It was really good. Um, and yeah, it was really good. That's all I really remember about it. It did a good amount of damage, um, and it was really good. I don't know. Next one is going to be one of the only good auto rifles in the entire fucking game, and that is the Zalo Supercell. I have a bit of nostalgia for my Zalo because the Zalo was like the second exotic weapon I ever got. The first one was the Hawk Moon. The second one was the Zalo. I got it from Missouri. I remember going to school one day, talking to my friend who played Destiny. He didn't really like me, but I liked him. Not in a gay way though, no homo. And I talked to him, and I was like, "Holy fucking shit! They're selling the Zalo Supercell. I'm so fucking excited. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it." And I used this gun for so long and absolutely adored it. I loved this gun, and it just felt amazing. There was a bit of recoil to it, but the perk was super cool. It was like basically Stormcaller the gun. It was really one of the only burn guns in year two. I think it was actually the only one in year two that is relevant that to use that can hit 320 light level, and it was just a solid workhorse gun, especially in Arcburn small arms. It was a complete monster there, um, but you know, it was just a solid workhorse gun. It wasn't top tier, but it was a solid workhorse gun. Next one is going to be Talalok. Now this was the Warlock exclusive auto rifle. I'm sorry, scout rifle in Taken King. This was really for Sunsingers, for self-res Warlocks. It was really only for them because it required you to keep your super. If you keep the super, this gun just goes fucking super sane. The stats on it are insane. It's a super low rate of fire, a high impact scout rifle at first, but then once you hit your super and you keep your super up, it goes fucking crazy. Insane reload speed, insane DPS on it. All of a sudden turns into the highest rate of fire scout I think in the game, and then it also at the same time has the same amount of damage as what it had before, and it's just a complete fucking monster. But it really is only good for Sunsinger Warlocks. And what I like doing with this is if I'm in like a raid or something, and we don't really, it's not like an encounter where I really need like an exotic sniper or something like that. Like in what was it called again? Shit, how did I? It was a King's Fall thing. It was the activity between. It was right before War Priest. I forget what it was called. That was actually one of my favorite encounters of all time. I love that one. But I would always use the Talalok there. Really because I would always, here's what I would do. Without Sunsinger on, I'd use another gun. But once I have my self-res ready to go, once my super's up, I would switch to my Talalok really fast and start shredding bitches and doing a shitload of damage, taking care of the knights real quick. Um, and it was a solid gun, and it was really, really worth using for sure if you were a Warlock main. Next one, the final one on the I love this gun is great, is going to be the Red Death. The Red Death is just a fantastic gun. It is a complete workhorse of a weapon. It's not flashy. It looks super cool, but it's not a flashy perk. Not flashy. It's not anything really, really cool. But you get a kill and you regen health. Simple as that. And you get faster reload speed. It's a really simple, easy to use gun, straightforward. Um, and it was just a great gun overall. Especially in Crota, when you had health regen disabled and you have to use the chalice. It was great there because you're able to regen your own health, and you don't really have to worry about it. Unfortunately, they fucking nerfed it later on. It was still a great gun, but they nerfed it for no fucking reason. It was in a great spot. It was in a great spot. It was just in a solid spot, but then you just fucking nerfed it for no apparent reason. Um, Sorry about that. Anyway, my favorite exotic weapon of all time, absolute monster, just fantastic gun is going to be the Bad Juju. The Bad Juju. This gun was an ad clearing beast. It was a high rate of fire, low impact pulse rifle with full auto on it. But the perk is what made this amazing. So, string of curses. Whenever you get a kill, it automatically reloads your entire weapon, which is also very, very useful. And also, I think it gets you a bit of a bonus damage too, which is nice too. But the main thing is the super regen. It gives you just a shitload of super energy than what it usually gives on kill. And this combined with Obsidian Mind was just just incredible. It was amazing in PvE. It was a wet dream. So many Nova Bombs, so many Nova Bombs. And then if you had other team which are bad juju, Obsidian Mines, just chaining Nova Bombs one after another, one after another, and after another, just with all the orbs generating, just chain. It was just incredible. It really just set off a huge super chain that was amazing. But even if you're using it by yourself, the gun is fucking incredible. It regenerates your super really fast. It's an ad clearing beast. And it was just a great gun, and is actually the only primary gun in this area right here. Um, it was just an incredible gun. Next one is going to be Black Spindle. Now, the Black Spindle in Destiny 2 is a lot better than this one, but back then there was the special slot, and this was like an exotic version of the Black Hammer with a awesome quest with it as well. Or rather, actually, just a mission. It wasn't really a quest. But it was really fucking hard to get this thing. It was really damn hard. Just like my cock. It is hard right now. And it was very cool because it was like you get 3 headshots in a row and then it refills your magazine from the reserves instead of just out of thin air like it does with the Black Hammer in Destiny 1 or Year 1 and then with the Whisper of the Worm in Destiny 2. But for Destiny 1's sakes, this was just a solid gun worth using. It was a beast. Back when snipers were a DPS monster for PvE. It was literally the go-to special weapon for PvE. That and shotguns were the go-to. Or unfortunately now it's mainly just shotguns, which really sucks because I loved using snipers. But um, yeah, it's just a great gun. Next one is going to be the Baller Horn, Gower Horn, G Horn, Yower Horn, just all sorts of those kind of names. It is a beast. Now, Year 1 was overpowered. It was probably the most overpowered weapon in Destiny history. You could really just like it was just. I'm sorry, the Vex Multiclass was actually probably the most OP, but the Gjallarhorn was on kind of the same level. Um it was horrible. It was like it was just fucking insane, and actually really made the community insanely toxic. With all the posts saying must have Gjallarhorn if you want to do Vault. Um, and it just sucked for people who didn't have it. But for people who did have it, they were like gods, gods among men, gods among guardians. It just was an incredible gun. Now, moving into Year 3, when they brought it back, it was also a fucking solid top tier rocket launcher. It was truly incredible. Um, but it wasn't as good as Year 1, obviously. But it was still a solid rocket launcher to use for boss DPS, for ad clear. It was the best exotic rocket launcher in the entire game. Next one is going to be Sleeper Simulants. This one is honestly borderline. I love this gun. It's great. But it is still a super solid gun that just does a just buttload of damage. But unfortunately has a chance of fucking killing yourself. In Vada Glass, in Age of Triumph, this was a very, very popular gun to use back then. Which was weird because it was always like really good before then. It was kind of surprising because no one really paid attention to it until like Age of Triumph 4. It all of a sudden became super popular, which was really, really weird. But even then, I saw a lot of these compilations way back in Age of Triumph, like 2 years ago actually already. That's fucking insane. 2 years ago? That is insane. When that came out. And people killing themselves was like the funniest shit with the sleeper. I remember I was in Vada Glass once and my friend killed himself with the sleeper, and it was so fucking funny. We wiped. It cost us that entire fight, but it was hilarious, and it was just a really it was a high damage, high risk kind of weapon. And it was just a great gun. Now, speaking of high risk, high reward, high damage weapons, the Risk Runner. I'm sorry, not the Risk Runner. I'm fucking retarded. The Raze Lighter. The Raze Lighter is the definition of high risk, high damage, high reward. And this gun, I'm sorry, this sword was a fucking monster. This is back when swords were great. You didn't see a whole lot of people using them, but in Strike specifically, they were fucking incredible. They were amazing. So seeing this, be on the top tier, some of you are probably going to be a little, not confused, but probably a little bit disagreed on this. But the Raze Rider was a beast. It just did a lot of damage. It wasn't that flashy. The uppercut on it was just a monster, and it was literally the best thing you could use against the Silent Flares. It was a complete beast against those guys. But yeah, next one is going to be the Dark Drinker. This was literally the go-to boss damage weapon for what's it, Axis Part 2. When he has all like the spider legs and everything, because of the Dark Drinker with the spinny effect, getting all of the legs. Now, ever since I got all three swords, Dark Drinker has always been my favorite. It's great for ad clear, it's great for damage, and that kind of spinny effect it's just so much fun. It is so much fun. This is back when swords had a lot of ammo. Had 81, and if you had the Iron Lord artifact, it can go up to like 101 or some shit, which was crazy. And it took like 5 or 6, um, yeah, like 5 or 6 sword ammo per heavy attack, which was very very nice. And it just did a shitload of damage, and it was great. It was great for ad clear, and it was just a beast of a gun. And yeah, that's actually it. I think, is that it? Holy shit, that's it. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be it already. Damn. Um, and there's a tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I doubt anyone really got this far. Like, this video is probably long as shit. But it was. Holy shit, it's already 5 o'clock. Yeah. Peace.